Hello, everyone. Anina Malherbe-Lan back for Vivid Earth. I know it's been a while. I've been super, super busy again and just lots of disruptions and Wi-Fi issues. And, such it is when you want to establish a new house and you have all these little snags and niggles. So I apologize, but it's good to be back with you all. And gosh, where are we standing? We're standing on the precipice, guys. Um, we are nearing the elections in the US, which is like 10 days away. I can't remember now, but it's just going very fast and things are sort of escalating. And there's a lot that is apparently going to go down before that. So, literally, in the next 10 days, there's said to be some big things going down. Um, I'm going to give you some highlights of that, but I want to touch just on the financial aspect. There's something like $560 billion in unrealized losses with just the US banks alone. And they all have to be ISO 2022 compliant, which means they have to have assets for a certain amount of percentage of deposits. And of course, we know many of them don't have that. So things are heading for a, shall we say, crash. That's kind of clear. There's been some interesting notices on the US debt clock, usdebtclock.org. The BRICS summit is happening this week in Russia. Now, a lot of people think, this will be the final death knell of the dollar because all of these countries, and I believe there's just about 170 or so that are already part of BRICS. Well, some of them not official, but we kind of had the word that, they are on board. The big one is Turkey, because Turkey is a NATO country, and that's going to be a big nail in the coffin. So that's happening in Russia, and we know that these countries are pretty much going to announce that they are saying goodbye to the dollar. They will no longer be under pressure to use the dollar, and they will use their own currencies because that will ultimately strengthen their own currency, right? So it's kind of a subtle way, in a way, to introduce Nasara Jasara, I think. It's kind of a building a model, a multipolar model, so to speak, that is not governed by a central agency, a central bank of any kind. It's really deep, decentralization, if you will, in a way. So I think this is an important part of establishing Nasara Jasara. But as I said before, it's not going to be a billboard announcing Nasara Jasara. It's going to roll out very subtly and slowly, and but surely there are certainly going to be some big things that we'll be seeing and hearing about in the coming weeks and months. But it's not going to all come at once necessarily. And, there's been so much shall I say, bad PR around this term. Number one, that they're not going to announce it in that way, the way that we want it to be. But number two, to avoid people from just, stopping everything and say, I'm not going to work, I can lie at home now. So it's got to be done in a very strategic way to make sure people don't freak out and, all industries doesn't come to a halt altogether, because this might just do that, so it's got to be done very strategically, very subtly. There's a guy that did a good video. Maybe I'll share that now just to get sort of the whole financial picture out of the way before I get to all the other action. And believe me, there is a lot of action happening. So let me see if I can screen share and share this very informative video with you. Something very weird is going on, because as soon as I want to pause to screen share, then something happens, or it keeps recording when guys, this is being messed with, and I think Zoom might be compromised as well.
I think this is a joke. There is no more Federal Reserve note on the U.S. debt clock. It is U.S. Treasury dollar. UFS is in place. Let me show you. This is essentially the bill. This is on Congress.gov. I'm going to show you guys.
Okay, guys, there you have it. Now, I don't know if this even recorded, because every time I stop sharing, it says the recording has paused. But we shall carry on. So in a nutshell, they already talk about the quantum financial system on an official government website. So It's already there. It's decentralized. Those naysayers and the ones that just talk doom and gloom, let them talk doom and gloom. Let them create doom and gloom in their life. But that's not us, right? We have the highest timeline in mind. That's what we're manifesting and nothing else. So the financial situation is coming to a head.
This is a joke. There is no.
This thing has got a mind of its own. It starts playing without pressing play. It's really a joke. Anyway, so a lot of things are happening. There's been a lot of damage and destruction in the US, North Carolina, now California fires. They're really playing with the last little toys that they have left. Unfortunately, they're sowing a lot of destruction in the process, but we have to hold the line. We have to stand strong, and it's all coming down the pike. This is the last few yards, guys. So you need to hold the line and hold the light until the end. We are almost there. So there was a post of Goldilocks. It says the banking system is awaiting final guidelines and standards for their recovery process or not. It says this tells us we have a definite change of the financial system approaching, and we have a set of new banking protocols to help us move into our new digital economy. Okay, you mean new financial system. And the post reads, I'm expecting these new standards to appear inside the Federal Register in the morning, where they will become law as stated in the registering process. So they're bringing these changes in legitimately. It's not going to be like some rogue takedown of the financial system, leaving everyone vulnerable. They're doing it in the most responsible way that they can, following all the right channels, all the right procedures, because this is how you maintain some sort of continuity on Earth and not, have rampant civil wars everywhere, because it's got to be done right. Otherwise, there's going to be loss of life and all sorts of destruction on this planet, which won't be good for the start of the golden age, right? Won't be a good start. So we need to kind of make sure everything is all the I's have been dotted, all the T's have been crossed. That's very important. So you can look that up on the webpage of the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency and the Treasury. All the final guidelines are there, the recovery plan that they're supposedly bringing in. The thing is that we know ISO 20022 has come into effect, and we're going to be seeing the fallout now, because as this gentleman said, there's about 180 banks that cannot meet those guidelines. They just simply cannot. They don't have the assets. They do not have the gold. They do not have the silver. They cannot actually, strictly speaking, they are bankrupt. But anyway, for so long, this Ponzi scheme have been going on. It's basically a pyramid scheme, because they take the money, they take your money that you deposit, and they go and invest it, but they don't have the money. They just keep playing this game. It's like a pyramid scheme. But at the end of the day, there's going to be a huge bottom of the pyramid that cannot get their money. And that's the game that they've been playing literally for more than 100 years, since at least 1913, but I suspect much longer than that. But the current financial system that we are in did come into effect around 1913. We know what happened there, the Titanic, all the powerful banksters that were against this system didn't survive for a reason. They just did whatever they needed to do to bring their corrupt Ponzi scheme into existence, no matter what. So I'm not going to read all the guidelines here. It's very long and lengthy, but you can go and look it up yourself. I forgot what the webpage is, but you look up the comptroller of the Office of the Comptroller in the US. There's a .gov site, and you can read it yourself. And as I said before, Gold Telegraph also said one of the biggest things to watch this week is Turkey. They have formally asked to join BRICS. When they talk about this in the public, it's already done. Okay, they're just seeding the narrative. If accepted, of course it has already been, they would be the first NATO country to join BRICS. So things are heating up, to say the least. Then in other news, we've got Prince Charles, I refuse to call him king, not that it matters. He was obviously visiting Australia. There were some members of parliament that basically almost booed him out and saying, "You're not our king. We don't owe you anything. This is not your land." And good for them, right? Good for them. It's about time somebody speaks up and tells the truth. I mean, how many centuries does it actually take to stand up against these bullies that have been suppressing all these Commonwealth countries, at the very least, for a very long time? So, and then Charles apparently, to mark the passage of time, he gifted New South Wales Parliament an hourglass. Really? Is that when your time is running out? Most likely. So, on the other hand, we've got so many big retailers. I mentioned this, I think, last week, closing their doors, closing branches, CEOs stepping down by the hundreds. Just to touch on that again, CVS CEO is stepping down and they're closing 900 stores. Walgreens is closing 1,200 locations. Rite Aid filed for bankruptcy and began closing 800 stores after 1,700 total they have. So it's about 55% of their stores. Walmart is closing 51 healthcare centers across the US. I wonder why. 21 hospitals closed in 2024 and 700 are at risk of closing due to many factors. Yay. Probably getting revamped with med beds. I hope so. 2024, so but basically this person is saying, I guess we won't need that kind of healthcare in 2025. Something big is coming, and indeed it is. So there was, I think they're called Ascension Hospitals. I don't know why they have that name, but anyway, they shouldn't hijack such an important name. Had a cyber attack in May, exactly 5 months and 11 days ago. It's almost time to ascend. Maybe that was a con. Indeed, it probably was. And just to let you know again how corrupt all these, it's like one happy family. So this post from Kathy from Universal News read, things you must know to be an informed voter in 2024. The governor of Michigan used to work for George Soros. California Governor Gavin Newsom is Nancy Pelosi's nephew. Inbreeding is not even the word. Adam Schiff's sister is married to one of George Soros' sons. John Kerry's daughter is married to a mullah's son from Iran. Hillary's daughter Chelsea is married to George Soros' nephew. ABC News executive producer Ian Cameron is married to Susan Rice, of course, Obama's former national security advisor. CBS President David Rhodes is the brother of Ben Rhodes, Obama's deputy national security advisor for strategic communications. ABC News correspondent Claire Shipman is married to Jay Carney, former Obama White House press secretary. ABC News and Univision reporter Matthew Jaffe is married to Katie Hogan, Obama's former deputy press secretary. One happy family. ABC President Ben Sherwood is the brother of Elizabeth Sherwood, Obama's former special advisor. Very nicely under the control of you-know-who, those media. CNN VP Virginia Mosley is married to Tom Knights, former Hillary Clinton's deputy secretary. At least he survived, because apparently 56 of Hillary's very close friends did not survive. What a coincidence. Do you know anyone with 56 friends that committed suicide? Yeah. So this is what you call a stacked deck. If you had a hunch the news media was somewhat rigged and you couldn't put your finger on it, this might help you solve the puzzle. Indeed. And this is just the start. Let's not even talk about ownership and shareholding and the fact that it all boils back down to BlackRock and Vanguard, and actually just BlackRock, to be honest. And then secretly, there's been news that they filed for bankruptcy in the US, but it's kind of suppressed. So we'll see what gets released. But indeed, where there's smoke, there is fire, right? So now you know why no one is investigated. They all have their hands in the cookie jar. You might remember James Comey, who investigated the Clinton email scandal and the Clinton Foundation and made the final decision not to recommend prosecution by the DOJ. Turns out that the Clinton Foundation was audited by the law firm DLA Piper. One of the executives there was in charge of the Clinton Foundation audit. Conflict of interest much? I think so. So who was it? Peter Comey, James Comey's brother. Peter Comey held an executive decision with the Washington law firm that did the audit for the Clinton Foundation in 2025. Peter Comey was officially DLA Piper's Senior Director of Real Estate Operations for the Americas. In 2015, when the Clinton Foundation scandals first broke and Hillary was preparing a presidential campaign, not only was DLA Piper, the firm where Comey's brother worked, involved in the audit of the Clinton Foundation, but according to the foundation's donor records, DLA Piper has given between 50 and 100K to the foundation. It gets even better. DLA Piper executive Douglas Emhoff is taking an extended leave of absence from the firm. Who is Douglas Emhoff? Here comes the cherry on top. He's the husband of Kamala Harris. But that's just no coincidence, right? Yes, it's just a coincidence. It's a hell of a coincidence. Strange coincidence. Amazing, isn't it? You can't make this stuff up. Another example of the DC swamp. So Mr. T is definitely not lying when he talks about the swamp and the fact that he's draining them. But it gets worse. This family tree will make your head spin. The swamp is deep. Dominion, you know the one where you select your candidate. That's all I'm going to say because we're on this particular bought and paid for platform. They serve 40% of the US market. It's in 30 states. The state of Texas rejected the machines. Admiral Peter Nevinger is on Biden's transition team. Nevinger was the president of the board of Smartmatic. You know who they are. They're the other piece of the puzzle for all the rigged counting. You know what I mean? Smartmatic entered into an agreement with Dominion in 2009. Smartmatic counted votes in Venezuela. It's also connected to Philippine voter fraud. Oops, mustn't say this word. He's also run by Lord Mark Malloch, you mean Moloch Brown, who works for George Soros. He and Brown are lifelong friends. What a coincidence. Brown chairs the boards of a number of nonprofit boards, including the Open Society Foundation, which is George Soros Foundation. I'm sure it's just all a coincidence. Brown chairs the Center for Global Development. Open Society, of course, is owned by George Soros. Smartmatic partnered with DLA Piper Global. Douglas E. Emhoff works at DLA Piper Global. Douglas C. Emhoff is Kamala Harris' husband, like we said before. And guess who owns Dominion? Blum Capital Partners LP. Guess who's on the board of this company? Richard Blum. Richard Blum is Dianne Feinstein's husband. The family tree really goes far. Nancy Pelosi's husband is also a major investor. And an aide to Nancy Pelosi, Needham Al-Shami, was hired by Dominion Systems. I'm not going to say that middle word. And it goes on and on and on. Dominion is listed on the Clinton Foundation website. It's also listed as a $25,000 to $50,000 donor of the Clinton Foundation in 2014, by the Washington Post. So it gets just better and better and better. And in other news, last night, the White House was lit up in red. Is that for Red October? I don't know. And there's been some kind of construction of some kind. They're apparently putting up a stage or something like that. And then there's also, of course, Mr. T, that famously said many times that DC is going to be renovated to be more beautiful than ever. And that's what's taking place here now. According to Nancy Drew, DC is under wider control and has been. Well, we know this. It's good to have confirmation. We've watched everything being rebuilt, including the infrastructure. They are putting in a huge teachers museum and conference next to the White House. They are building an enormous museum under the Lincoln Memorial. He has told us there's going to be a huge celebration beginning in the spring. While it's heartbreaking to know what's happening there, the city will remain as our history. We can't just erase our history and try to forget about it. Future generations deserve and need to know. It's okay to have an opinion that should be torn down, though. Of course, we know about very, very deep tunnels under the White House as well, and that's maybe what they've been working on for all this time to clean out those tunnels. And yes, then it can be repurposed. You can't just take away, the whole history of the US. It's way too important. And then in other news, the whole Diddy saga is just growing and growing and growing. And there are people that apparently are rumored to be arrested, I think, before the week is out, really. They're talking about people like Jay-Z and Beyonce. They're talking about Oprah. There's a few more. I can't remember them now. I'll find the post. And then there's also people that are saying, because obviously this week, I think it was this week, One Direction's Liam Payne fell off a balcony and is no more, which was very weird because he was just seen an hour earlier being very chirpy, and he made a video and there was literally nothing wrong with him. So it definitely wasn't self-inflicted, shall we say. You want to use these words too often here, but and then news came out that Simon Cowell, he obviously helped One Direction, and he's very closely linked to Diddy. A lot of people reckons, I'm just saying what they're saying, that he is the UK's Diddy. And I must say, there seems to be a lot of evidence for that. Coupled with him just announcing that he's stepping down from his iconic role in Britain's Got Talent, a decision reportedly influenced by the recent passing of One Direction's Liam Payne. Really. Carl, who once made headlines for paying $50,000 to bail out a convicted pedophile, is now exiting the show he helped shape for years and years. There's more to that story. Wait for it to break because it's all coming out. So I'm hoping this guy has not maybe have gone into witness protection. Who knows? I don't know. But I'm hoping that, somehow he's still alive. And I don't know if he is, but it's very, very sad if he's not. It's just incredible what's coming out, horrifying, really, what's coming out on Diddy. It's just getting worse and worse every day. And then you've got Ali Carter just speaking her mind and running for her life, really. She's just driving across the country and, left her cell phone behind and all of that to make sure she's not followed. She's literally running for her life and speaking the truth. She was one of these victims, very, very badly abused and tortured, and she lives to tell the tale. And she's a very important part of disclosure at this point, and it is so, so necessary. Now, on that note, it could well be that a lot of people have supposedly seen psychics, remote viewers, that there are two big, supposedly female arrests coming, which people are saying could be Hillary and Kamala, although Kamala's not really female, right? So I don't know. That's just a guess, but it seems very likely, and apparently it's something that could be days away. So it's all starting to fall now, guys. It is just all coming out. Then there's obviously Ashton Kutcher's NGO, who supplied police with free CIA-linked surveillance tool to protect kids, really, to protect a suspect NGO claiming to combat child trafficking by providing surveillance tech to US police. It sounds like it's doing the opposite, right? Now, with Diddy facing charges like racketeering and transporting of minors and trafficking, you would think Ashton Kutcher would have something to say on the matter because that's supposedly what he's standing for, and he's silent as a mouse. And guess where he is now? No one knows. He's gone. nowhere to be found. So Thorn was an NGO founded in 2012 by actors Ashton Kutcher and his then wife, Demi Moore. Thorn was also supposed to be about stopping the child, you know what. And then the UN and the WF entered into a partnership to accelerate delivery of the 2030 agenda. It formalized the corporate and NGO capture of sovereign governments, shifting us dangerously closer to privatized and undemocratic global governments. It's not a theory anymore, we know that. Anyway, the list goes on and on and on. There's also obviously a lot of things said about Sound of Freedom. Patrick Slim Dormant with WF Links has helped with this movie, and he's the son of Carlos Slim, a human trafficker of note. Kutcher's Child Trafficking Foundation, Thorn, used to work with the McCain Institute. Anyway, this thing goes on and on. And Thorn is also linked to Tim Ballard and the Underground Railway, Operation Underground Railway. So yeah, it's not looking good for these Hollywood celebrities. We're going to see them one by one fall. No one will survive. Not the guilty ones anyway. And then, yeah, another interesting thing that I wanted to report on. And then it was Clinton who made a speech, I don't know where, but it was on Forbes Breaking News. He was basically going on about Clinton, Mr. T supposedly misusing his powers and wanting to go after anyone who's a domestic or foreign threat and either kill them or throw them in jail. And then he was saying, Trump wants to send me away for a very long time instead of a supermax prison in Colorado, take him to Gitmo. We know he's already in Gitmo and he's probably not even around anymore. So it's probably a mask wearer just seeding the narrative. And then interestingly, Cuba had a blackout, a complete blackout about a day or so ago. And that's where Gitmo is, right? So maybe it's a last-ditch plan to get some of those prisoners removed or saved. But we know, I believe the White Hats have just done anything and everything that can possibly, they've covered anything that could potentially go wrong. This is too important. They wouldn't have just, randomly just done anything without having 10 backup plans. So, it's all good. So, yeah, hopefully we'll see Clinton publicly going to Gitmo, finally, for the public to see, that is, because we know it's already happened, right? So what else, guys? There's so much happening. I wanted to quickly touch on my notes, which I made. Speaking of blackouts, we had some cell carriers down in the US as well. And they've been testing for a while now. So hopefully this is the big test. And apparently, just to go back to the whole Diddy thing, apparently they're working on movies to screen, hopefully with the imminent EBS about Diddy and Epstein. Full-on documentaries showing all of it. And, we know that a lot of this footage they have, especially the Diddy footage, they've been working on. They've even been selling and they've been sending it to Israel for a lot of these nefarious Jewish characters to make snuff films out of. It's just hectic. What else? Also, the Kamala scandal. I want to go back to that because that is building. Candace Owens has been doing a fantastic job of digging into her past, in her past history, even speaking to family members. And it seems her whole family history is fake as well. She wrote a book. Even her grandmother, who she says is a grandmother in the book, is supposedly not her real grandmother. Her real grandmother is actually white. She's Irish. And so she's hiding all these things about her history to make her look like a Black candidate that everyone wants to see in power. but she's not even black, not even one bit. So she's got more sort of Indian heritage, and it seems Irish as well. So she's very far away from black, really. But you know how what they do. The deep state, they take these characters, it's all the same story, and they give them a completely different history, just like Obama. His mother was also white. So they're trying to like get cozy with, you know, the guys in the hood. They're so far removed from those people. They cannot relate to those, they're looking for those people's votes, but they cannot in any way relate to how they live, and they don't give a shit about them anyway. They grew up all privileged, and they were groomed from a very young age to be, as to be in a certain role at some point in their life if they pass the test. So, I guess one should feel a little bit of compassion because these guys have probably been tortured and MK ultra'd into oblivion as well. But there's always free will, no matter what happens to you. And we've seen how many people have stepped out of this MK ultra and said, "That's not my life. This is not how I want to live." Kathy O'Brien comes to mind. Even Ali Carter comes to mind. A lot of people have stepped out and said, "Nope, this is not right. I'm not going to perpetuate this. I'm going to end this. It ends with me." And these people have risked their lives, really. Think about Anneke Lucas in the Netherlands, how brave she's been about speaking out, risking their lives, risking the lives of their family, being on the run, really, to bring disclosure. We have to have some serious respect for these people. But yeah, just to get back to Kamala. So Candace is really, she's like a dog with a bone, and she's not giving up. And let me tell you, there are these big influences that have been selected to start delivering disclosure, to start seeding the narrative, because it cannot be dropped like a bomb on the people of Earth. It's got to be brought in slowly but surely and get people to start thinking and asking questions, and then, the truth can come in behind them. So Candace Owens is one of those people. There's a lot of those people, even people like Redacted, I believe, has been selected to disclose certain things. Who else now? Joe Rogan, Alex Jones. There's a lot of people that believe he's a controlled opposition. Whether he was or not, I do believe he's firmly under the control of the White Hats either way. And he's definitely waking up the masses. You can't say otherwise. And it's definitely serving the light, right? So that's good. Whether whoever he works for, it's ultimately the result is serving the light. So that's what we after. I always say, don't get sidetracked with the messengers. Look at the results. Look at what they are doing for the collective, for the mindset, for the consciousness of the people on earth. That's what you need to follow, not what they've done in the past. Are they good? Are they bad? It actually doesn't really matter. The same with Elon. Let's not split hairs. What he's doing now is serving the people, waking up the masses. There's no denying that. And then, right now we've got all these like other things going on as well with Earth. We've just got another full moon, which has been intense. I don't know about you, but I've been feeling all the feels around this moon. Even though it's fake, it still has a magnetic pull on the planet. And, I guess if you're a water sign, you're feeling it more than others. I don't know. But yeah. And then we've got a full moon in Scorpio, which means a lot of this transformation energy is with us right now. So a lot of dark secrets coming to light. Scorpio is also the sign of the investigator. So just really digging deep and revealing these secrets, going down the rabbit hole, investigating things, revealing things, bringing it to the light. Like the phoenix, the planet will rise from its ashes and just live a more enlightened life after that. Who knows what's coming down the pike? So we've got all these astrological influences. We also got cosmic influences. We've got a lot of solar flares going on in a big way. I mean, we've just had so many X flares. It just keeps hitting the earth, and with that, a lot of light and information flooding the planet. And then along with that, we still got the second moon narrative, which people are now saying, or some people reckon, it's actually Andromedan ship. And I can't remember who said, but it was another psychic that said that actually there's been a lot of healing energy released onto the planet. So some people are actually feeling sick, but it's actually like flooding out and purging out lower density stuff of all kinds, from toxic substances to, low vibrational emotions. It's just literally like purging things on the planet right now. There's also a Pleiadian ship, a big mothership, apparently very close by. We've got the Atlas comet on its way, apparently. I forgot the date that it's supposed to come past, and that has got a big magnetic pull as well. So who knows? We might see some extreme weather stuff going on. Everything is intense, and even NASA and NOAA has announced that the sun has reached its solar maximum, and that will peak in July 25. So all of the cosmic energies are aligning to purge all the last darkness on this planet. So yeah, things are happening, guys. And then, of course, a little bit of fun. You saw the video clips of Trump working at McDonald's for, I don't know, a couple of hours. And that was just trolling again, Kamala, because apparently she worked for McDonald's, but McDonald's can't find any records of her working there. It could also be that she had a different name then. That could also be a thing, but I really strongly doubt whether she ever worked. As I said, she comes from a very privileged upbringing, and many people reckon that the actual name is Kamal Arush. That's the actual name of this individual, not Kamala Harris. So there's going to be a lot that's coming out, guys. It's only just the beginning. Just like Barack Hussein, people reckon his real name is Barry Soetoro. And you can link it all the way back to his father. There's a whole family history that has been uncovered that they're trying to cover up. But you just can't keep these things hidden forever. It will come out at some time. And that's the beauty of it, What goes down in the darkness will have to come back up. There's been a lot of disclosure also delivered. I have to give credit to Jaguar Wright about Diddy. Also been doing a lot of red pilling and talking about Oprah's involvement with Michael Jackson and what's happened there. Not going to talk about it too much, but there's a couple of videos that we shared on Telegram that you'll find very interesting if you haven't already. And yeah, we just need to get ready for so much disclosure, guys. All this technology is going to come into play. Once the financial system flips, everything flips, and it's just going to get better and better. And like somebody said, and I forgot who this is, but how good can it get? How good can it get? It can get very good. So keep focusing on the good, because anything else will just delay the good that we know is our birthright right now. What else can I tell you guys? There's so much more happening. Just want to maybe talk about the solar cycle prediction. What has just started playing here? This computer's got a life of its own.
Hustle to do in 2024 is to get.
I swear, guys, this computer has a life of its own. By the way, I've had some interferences both on my phone and my computer, so I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway, let me read this for you. It comes from NASA and NOAA. So they're talking about the solar maximum that I mentioned earlier. So this marks the peak of the sun's 11-year cycle, 11-year activity cycle, characterized by frequent sunspots, solar flares, and coronal mass ejections. The solar maximum brings increased solar activity, which can cause geomagnetic storms affecting Earth's power grids, communications, and satellites, but also lead to beautiful auroras. Narrative seeding, because those are very mainstream government cabal platforms that could already be under control of the white hats. I think they are. Apparently, scientists cannot predict the exact timing or strength of solar cycles with precision. The sun's magnetic poles will eventually switch places and activity will decrease, but the exact peak of the cycle may not be known for months or years. Although this cycle is stronger than initial predictions, it remains within normal limits. Yeah, right. The most powerful flare of this cycle occurred on October 4th, 2024, but wasn't the strongest ever recorded. And that's significant, guys, because so much light comes onto the planet. We can even go through like timeline shifts when these things happen. So it's very important. But yeah, I mean, there's just so much more I can say. I can talk about the Kamala interviews, the implosion on Fox. I'm sure you've watched those. There's so many things I can talk about. Candace also did an episode about breeding politicians, and now they all seem to have the same kind of background or weird story or, you know, holes in their history. People saying they went to that university, but they never met or saw any such person in that year. So it looks like they create these characters, you know, out of thin air, and then they use like MK Ultra victims to actually enact out this role, this actor that they have created for this government role, and that's really how they do it. So all of these things will be revealed. Darkness will come to light, and this planet will finally shift into the golden age. So, the one little tidbit that I can just maybe read here. Some people talk about Project Odin, which will go together with the EAS or EBS, depending, you know, what they want to call it this time. Maybe to mess up the Google searches. I don't know. So it's a military unit that supervises military forces in ground operations. Odin will literally mean observe, detect, identify, and neutralize. During the EBS, every major media planet channel on the planet will be broadcasting the documentaries for 10 days, on all of the channels on the planet. And that will be controlled by the alliance, and everything will be revealed to political institutions, famous religious leaders, etc., etc. The final 3 days will reveal suppressed extraterrestrial life patents and New Earth. And I have to mention that as well. I do think we're going to see some ET action very soon. And if you're awake like me, bring it on. If the one will bring in the blue beam stuff, then we will see through them very quickly. Okay, this digital army is not to be fooled anymore. So it goes on to say Project Odin and military Jasara, a monumental combination that promises to overthrow the Cabal's hold on global power. Prepare for the most dramatic change in modern history when the military emergency broadcast system emerges, signaling a new era of truth, justice, and liberation. The stage is set, the actors are in position, and the world is about to witness a seismic shift that will reshape the course of history. Project Odin, a project shrouded in secrecy, is about to reveal to the world. They talk about what it is, how does it connect to Jasara, etc. Whole article if you want to read that, and it's on the Telegram channel. So it really is the key to dismantling the Mossad media satellite networks that have been the center of global manipulation for too long. And Starlink is just now everywhere. And even in South Africa, they've announced that, our presidents have met with Elon Musk. It's been difficult for Starlink to enter our market because of the whole BEE thing. So it means they have to have a local shareholder, Black economic empowerment candidate to hold a certain shareholding. And for that reason, it's been very difficult for Starlink to enter. But they're actually already here, and they have been here for quite some time, just under a different name, as a local company that provides them here. So they've kind of sneaked in anyway. So they're already covering the whole of Southern Africa, if not the whole of Africa. So because they say the new quantum system, part of quantum Starlink, represent a paradigm shift in technology. These systems are protected by secret space programs that operate beyond the reach of the Cabal, ensuring integrity and security. As the Cabal-controlled media crumbles, these quantum systems will emerge as heralds of truth and transparency. The Cabal's last stand, I'll just say letter 17. You know which one it is. You could just count down the alphabet to see what that 17th letter is, because I can't even mention its name on this platform. Say 17, the enigmatic figure behind many revelations, has predicted the elimination of the Mossad media. So anyway, goes on and on. Very interesting. We've heard this all for a long, long time. So we will see how this all rolls out, because I don't believe anyone really knows, because then the enemy will know as well. There will be some surprises. Don't expect anyone to know exactly how it's going to go down. There will definitely be surprises. So just be ready for, just be fluid. Be ready to flow with whatever comes out. That's the only way we can get through this. So keep positive, guys. Keep envisioning our beautiful new future, the way it's going to look like, the way it's going to work, wealth distribution, pollution-free, kind, compassionate, harmony, living in unity, all of these things that we want to see now. Think about those now. Think about it every day, maybe every morning, every night. Just, it's like paint a little bit more into that picture and really get a feel for how it's going to work, how it's going to look, the joy, the happiness, the peace, the harmony. Just feel it. Feel it in your bones. That's how we anchor in this new earth. And it's coming. It's coming. Question is just how fast. Let's do it fast. We're done now with all these things. We're ready for the golden age. We're ready for the age of Aquarius. Bring it on. So that's it for me for now. Remember to balance your time, do your inner work, meditate, be centered, be grounded. If this EBS happens, it's very important that we are centered and grounded, connected to our higher self, to our guidance team, and to be there for others, really. So do what you need to do. And I'm sending you all so much love, and I hope to see you soon.